DRC is a country endowed with arable lands, rich mineral deposits, and an insatiable market for goods and services required by the almost 100 million population. The Kenya and DRC governments organized a trade mission in partnership with Equity Group that saw more than 300 investors and entrepreneurs visit the vast country for 2 weeks. Watch this documentary on how the DRC is ripe for investment and trade on KBC Channel 1 on Friday the 11th of March from 6:35 p.m.
The nation's favorite shows, Breakfast Club, Sundowner, yours for the asking.
Hey, brother, do you still believe in one another?
Late date, KBC English Service. KBC English Service.
Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta reacts to the viral Boda harassment video that elicited mixed reactions across the board. But it's a new good evening and a happy Women's Day.
Well, messages of women empowerment dominated this year's celebrations, which was under the theme Breaking the Bias. Happy Women's Day to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them.
And remember to be a heroine and not a victim. Hello once again, my name is Mboya.
And I'm Purity Museo.
Coming up in this program.
I have ordered a crackdown on all Boda operators starting here in Nairobi and moving across the country.
Enough of the menace. Rogue Boda riders arrested in crackdown.
Celebrating women, Kenya pledges to enhance women empowerment as the world marks International Women's Day.
Persona non grata. Former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko banned from visiting the U.S. Well, many thanks indeed for joining us.
At KBC Channel 1 News, at Purity_Museo, at Mboya24, the hashtag is Prime Edition. Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter tonight.
And the bulletin begins right now. President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered a crackdown on all rogue Boda operators across the country. Speaking during an event to mark International Women's Day, the head of state also ordered that all Boda operators be registered afresh.
The directive coming hours after a video of a group of men accosting a female motorist who allegedly hit a pedestrian went viral. Condemning the incident, the head of state directed the police to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book.
That's right. Over 200 Boda operators have, in the meantime, been arrested and 913 motorcycles seized as a crackdown. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has affirmed that they will stop at nothing to ensure that the culprits are brought to book.
Safina Ching Oma opens our coverage with that report.
I did give instructions and I have ordered a crackdown on all Boda operators starting here in Nairobi and moving across the country.
It is not going to be business as usual for Boda operators following a directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta for an immediate crackdown of all Boda operators across the country. The directive came hours after a video went viral on social media of a female motorist who had hit a pedestrian being accosted and molested by a group of Boda riders along Forest Road. The head of state talking tough against the increasing incidences of criminality in the Boda sector.
We applaud the many wonderful young men and in some cases women who ride these motorbikes and do great service to this country. But friends, that is not a license for you and your motorbike to harass pedestrians by driving on pedestrian walkways and chasing them back off onto the road. It's not a license that allows for a Boda to be used to do drive-by shootings or to break vehicles' windows and harass motorists along the road. And most definitely, it is not a license for you to strip and remove dignity from our women. No.
A section of stakeholders in the sector has, however, received the news with mixed reactions, expressing reservations over what they term as unfair blanket condemnation.
Hatuwezi kuwa tunaongojea tu incident itokee alafu tunaanza vita. Tukianza vita namna hiyo utaweza bebesha mzigo ule mtu ambaye hana hatia. Wale watu ambao walifanya hiyo kitendo na sisi tumepeana mpaka number plate ya hiyo gun ambaye aliweza kufanya hiyo kitendo. Wabebe msalaba kivyao na sisi tutawasaidia kutoa any information ambaye inaweza saidia wale watu wa face full force ya law.
We support the government, we support Mr. President, and we are ready to work with him to ensure that there is sanity in this sector. It can only be done when we work hand in hand with the government to ensure that things are laid down in a proper way.
The police have since intensified a crackdown within the sector that has seen over 200 Boda operators arrested and 913 motorcycles seized.
Fellow Kenyans, please support our drive. It is not going to be easy, but we have to do it. This is a journey we have to travel together. Otherwise, we are going to have these kinds of things happen every other day, and we are going to allow this level of impunity to continue. We cannot live this way.
The incident clouded the International Women's Day celebrations, with human rights bodies and several women-affiliated organizations protesting the violence against women and girls in both public and private spaces.
We want to tell the police that this country has mechanism for speedy investigation, speedy and comprehensive investigation. We want them by end of the week to ensure that those culprits are with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
Sentiments echoed by the National Youth Council, which is now pushing for gender sensitization.
We are looking not only to condemn these people, but we also want to know what is it that led these young people to feel that they had to resort to violence against a member of their citizens.
The tough talk by the head of state and the public outcry may have acted as a call to action, but is the action going to be enough to sustain the momentum of women's rights advocacy in the country? For Prime Edition, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
Our fingers on the pulse of that story. Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has underscored the need to enhance women empowerment and entrench gender equality in the ongoing efforts to combat climate change.
President Kenyatta, who during the national celebrations to mark International Women's Day at the Kenya School of Government in Nairobi, outlined interventions his administration has implemented to advance the country's gender agenda, saying Kenya has established a strong platform for women to participate in climate sustainability.
Beatrice Gatonye reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta said women and girls should be put at the center of climate change initiatives, including climate financing, new technologies, as well as training.
But women are not just victims of climate change. I do believe, as we have heard today, that they are also part of the solution. As agents of change to mitigate climate change and to strengthen resilience and adaptability, we have a strong platform for women to be at the forefront of sustainability.
At the same time, the head of state applauded Kenyan women leading sustainability initiatives such as KenGen Chief Executive Officer Rebecca Miano, whose organization has become a continental leader in the generation of renewable energy.
There are still outstanding systemic, structural, and cultural barriers, as well as regional disparities to address. A continuous focus on gender issues is therefore a priority for my administration and should be so even for future administrations.
He paid tribute to women leaders who've championed gender equality over the years, terming them trailblazers. President Kenyatta used the occasion to open the Margaret Kenyatta Institute for Gender and Social Development at Kenya School of Government, launched the Margaret Kenyatta Institute's strategic plan, unveiled the Margaret Kenyatta speech book, and conferred the 2022 Gender Trailblazers Awards to outstanding recipients. The First Lady, Margaret Kenyatta, said this year's International Women's Day underscores the importance of exclusivity in economic development and social change, and thanking the Gender Ministry for expanding platforms for women empowerment.
This year's theme amplifies the barriers that women face and the importance of inclusivity to achieve economic development and social change. It also highlights the inequalities facing women and girls, as well as vulnerable groups as a result of climate change. But it also brings to the fore the role of women and girls as powerful change agents because of their resilience, their courage, and the influential roles they play in their homes, their communities, our country, and the world.
Rwanda's First Lady Jeanette Kagame, who graced the occasion, rallied for concerted efforts in addressing climate change, saying women and children are the most affected by the phenomenon.
To stand aside as our resources are misdistributed and depleted, and as natural disasters gain in frequency, is at best to accept a fate that rips the majority of the world's women from their homes, and that robs them of the dignity to which they are entitled. Honorable dignitaries, esteemed guests, we must address the global indifference towards the issues of sustainability and climate change mitigation.
Beatrice Getonyeng-Etich, Prime Edition.
Now, messages of protection of women against any form of violence dominated celebrations across different parts of the country.
And as Zainab Said reports, women leaders used the day to challenge authorities to ensure women are protected as the country gears towards the August polls.
Speaking in Mkokoni, Lamu County, while marking the International Women's Day's celebrations, Lamu Women Representative Ruwaida Obo used the occasion to remind women on how important their political voice is as the country gears towards the general election.
Kupiga kura zaidi kushinda wanaume. Kwa hivyo ni kuwasihi tu wanawake wenzangu, hii nafasi waitumie, wasitumie vibaya. Maana wanasiasa wakija sasa hivi watakuja wawagawanye, huyu ni hivi, huyu ni hivi. Sisi tuangalie malengo yetu.
Ruwaida urged Lamu women not to allow to be bribed in order to make a political decision. In Wajir County, women leaders led by Wajir Women Representative Fatuma Gedi have called for protection against all form of violence. The women also called on political space for women aspirants.
They are our mothers, they are our wives, they are our sisters. We do not want people to violate their rights. We do not want people to assault them. We do not want...
I want to urge the politicians from this county to give women political space to campaign. And as a result of that, we have created Wajir Women Council, which is supporting aspirants to contest and giving them platform.
In Nairobi, gubernatorial candidate Tim Wanyonyi promised to achieve the 2/3 gender rule by appointing women in positions of leadership if the ratio is not achieved through elections.
If we don't meet it in elective positions, we shall meet it in appointive position.
And in Kisii County, a 30-member women group from Getanga village of Kianganyo sublocation, Kisii Central, is committed to rewriting the economic history through organic farming and table banking.
Kuna avocado lakini sio grafted. Sasa vile haina grafted wengi hawaipendi. Unajua grafted iko na faida na iko na weight. Sasa kama ukipanda ikikuwa moja tu hivi, hii yenye tunauza hii ordinary tunaiuza 10 bob lakini it is 30 bob. Na hii nyingi yao grafted avocado huwa inaenda ng'ambo juu iko na mafuta mingi.
The group's chairperson Sabina Nyasuguta is however appealing for capital from relevant authorities to enable them boost their business. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Let's now move away from women issues and go into insecurity. The government has redeployed national police reservists in the volatile areas of Baringo in a major operation to eliminate bandits.
Rift Valley Regional County Commissioner Mohammed Malim says the Ministry of Interior has dispatched 3 armored personnel carriers and 80 national police reservists to Baringo North and South to quell the heightened insecurity in the region.
Now, in what seems to be a shoot-to-kill order, Malim ordered the security personnel not to spare the bandits, as Kamche Meza reports.
The Ministry of Interior says it will not be business as usual in areas within Baringo County where lives have been lost in the frequent banditry attacks. On Tuesday at Muchongoi sub-county, a security operation was launched dispatching heavy security machinery and redeploying 80 national police reservists.
Nimeleta zile magari zinaitwa Armored Personnel Carrier APC 3. Tukishirikiana na Mheshimiwa Waziri, Inspector General, tunataka kuhakikisha ya kuwa officers wetu sasa kwa vile wamelindwa. Mimi nangojea kusikia wangapi wameshikwa wakiwa hai ama maiti yao iletwe.
Rift Valley Regional County Commissioner Mohammed Maalim ordering the security personnel to deal with the bandits mercilessly.
Haiwezekani wewe kila siku unaua na unaendelea na maisha ya kawaida. Hii haitawezekana. We want to see collateral damage. Mwili zao na hizo ng'ombe zote. Kwa sababu hatutaendelea na mambo kama hii.
Areas of Kasiela, Sinoni and Lamaiwe in Baringo South are already inhabitable, with the regional commissioner's visit to the area revealing that 7 villages, including Kapkosum village, have already been vacated following Monday's exchange of fire between the police and bandits. The flare-up also affected the relocation of KCPE candidates at Karne Primary School.
Pesa iko, tumeanza 4 kilometers out of 12 kilometers, hao tena wametufukuza. Lazima tuelezane ukweli. Hii si mambo ya wizi wa ng'ombe, lakini iko na agenda nyingine. Hata kuna uchawi ndani, unakata mkono ya mtu ambaye umemuua, unaipeleka wapi mkono?
Emotions had run high among residents who have been spending sleepless nights over inadequate security in the area.
Unaona saizi imefika msimu wa kulima na watu vile wamefukuswa kuanzia mahali uliona na wamefukuswa hata kwa dakika ya kwa siku ya siku 2 siku 3. Mimi naomba serikali wasaidia watu kulimia mashamba.
Residents who had fled their homes have been assured of beefed security patrols in the area, with normalcy expected to resume with the launch of the security operation. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Now, Education Principal Secretary Dr. Julius Wan has warned against the practice of taking photos of examination material while exams are underway and circulating the same on various social media platforms.
Wan says that the act might compromise the integrity of the exam, cautioning invigilators and exam managers to ensure the practice is stopped forthwith.
Nancy Okware reports.
On the second day of the 2021 Kenya Certificate for Primary Education examinations, the candidates wrote the Science, Kiswahili and Insha papers. Education Principal Secretary Julius Juan was in Homa Bay County to oversee the exercise, where he cautioned invigilators against taking pictures of the examination material to protect the integrity of the national exercise.
We've had a situation where somebody takes a photo of a candidate sitting an exam and then they start circulating to give an impression that an exam has leaked, which is never the case. You've seen the way that the sealing is done. Everything is opened at the container, and you cannot tamper with that at any given time. So anytime the exam is opened, nobody is is allowed to take a photo inside the classroom.
The Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Sarah Ruto, was in Iten area of Elgeyo Marakwet to supervise the exercise and noted the number of teen pregnancies among KCP candidates was relatively lower.
The fact that we have not had very long closure, I think confirms what we have always stated, that the school seems to be a safer place for children. Our responsibility as a society is also to make the home a safe place, the community a safe place, like the school is.
In Garissa, Wajir and Mandera counties, the government is using choppers to deliver KCP examination papers in hard-to-reach centers along the Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia borders.
We are securing this exam, and we are going to make sure that it is free of any incidents. And at the end of the day, I'm sure it is going to be an examination that has been done with a lot of decorum.
Elsewhere in Turkana County, 14 inmates at Lodwar Prison are among the candidates sitting the exam this year.
Sehemu moja ya program yetu ya education kwamba mtu akija gerezani hajakuwa condemned, mtu ambayo amekuwa organized, pia anaweza kuwa mtu wa maana baada ya maisha ya hapa ndani.
In Narok County, Enkiteng Lepa School, which is located on the outskirts of Masai Mara, has exuded confidence that its Class 8 candidates will perform better in the ongoing Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations.
The exam arrived on time at our center and we were well prepared. And we thank the government because everything has been equalized, though our school is a rescue center.
The candidates will finish the examinations on Wednesday by writing the social studies paper. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Well, we're going to take our first short break, but when we return, we will tell you what promise the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has made should he ascend to the presidency.
We'll also tell you where the Kenya Kwanza Alliance took its bottom-up economic model campaign.
We'll be back.
To send a message of solidarity to all the women all over the world. And I want to say that we have a long way yet to reach the goals that we gave ourselves, especially in 1975 when we met in Mexico to start what became a women's decade. So let us celebrate our achievements. Let us pat each other on the back. But let us remind each other that we have a long way to go yet for ourselves and for future women.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
cinemas and theatre this episode.
Courage or die in cowardice.
Join me, Jacqueline Masharia, as we review the film Mission to Rescue.
Ili kupata skiza tune ya Sitoki Jikoni kwenye simu yako, dial *811 *816#.
We, umeingiaje kwa hii jikoni?
Wewe achana bwana, wewe ujui tulitokea wapi? Acha hata wewe toka hapa.
Wacha upuzi yako hiyo. Toka nje bwana.
Hii jikoni niko hapa ndani. Na nitakaa hapa and make decision.
Wacha maneno yako bwana, toka nje bwana. Wewe unajua tulijenga hapa watu wawili hii jikoni.
Wewe kwa wakati nilikuwa naandikishana contract ya kufanya kazi kwa hii jikoni.
Wewe toka bwana, wacha.
Kupata skiza tune hiyo ya Sitoki Jikoni, dial *811 *816#.
This is KBC Prime. Moving on, former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko and his immediate family members have been banned from traveling to the United States of America.
Communication by the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken indicates that Sonko's travel ban follows his alleged involvement in corruption during his 3-year stint at City Hall. JJ Curia is on that beat.
The Counselor for Public Affairs, Eric Watnick, at the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, in announcing the decision by the State Department, said the decision to ban the deposed Governor Mike Sonko and his close family members was informed by his involvement in significant corruption. According to the statement, Sonko influenced the allocation of tenders to family and friends while in charge at City Hall.
Section 7031C of Fiscal Year 2021 Department of State Foreign Operations and Related Program Appropriations Act provides that officials of foreign governments and their immediate family members about whom the Secretary of State has credible information of direct or indirect involvement in significant corruption or a gross violation of human rights are ineligible for entry into the United States.
Sonko is also accused of having received bribes and kickbacks from his associates in exchange for awarding of multi-million shilling tenders.
Former Governor Sonko's corruption has been widely reported in local and international press. With this designation, the department reaffirms the need for accountability, transparency, and respect for the rule of law in Kenya's democratic institutions, government processes, and the actions of public officials.
The ban means the former Nairobi County boss, his wife and his children are deemed as persona non grata in the US. Sonko is facing corruption-related charges amounting to 357 million shillings. His arraignment in court occasioned his impeachment as governor in December 2020. In 2019, the State Department also banned former Attorney General Amos Wako, who is the current Busia senator, and his immediate family members from traveling to the US. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
On to politics now. The Orange Democratic Movement leader Raila Odinga says that no Kenyan will die of hunger under his presidency.
Odinga, who took his campaign to Samburu County, said if elected, his government will put in place measures to cushion Kenyans against hunger.
Gladys Mungai reports.
The Orange Democratic Movement Party leader Raila Odinga on Tuesday led the Azimio la Umoja Brigade in rallying the people of Samburu County behind his campaign, Odinga promising to caution Kenyans against drought and hunger. Samburu is among counties bedeviled by perennial drought and overstretched pasture.
Nimepata habari ni kule Wamba kuna baa la njaa hapa kwa sababu ya ukame, sio? Chakula nitakana hapa kwa njia ya dharura, sio? Nikirudi Nairobi nitapiga simu kwa Uhuru ili chakula iletwe hapa mara moja.
Odinga urging the pastoral community to vet and elect leaders based on their ability to deliver.
Anatoa ahadi ambaye hazina maana. alisema ati hao vijana watapata kazi milioni moja kila mwaka. Hiyo uliona hiyo? Sasa anaahidi sasa kazi milioni 4. Alisema kwamba kila county kutakuwa na stadium ya kisasa. Iko hapa Samburu.
Umetoka hapa ukaenda ng'ambo kuenda kuharibu jina ya nchi. We have never seen a deputy president who can go to another country and talk ill about their country. We want to tell you that we can even invoke Article 150 of the Constitution, and you know very clearly that Article 150 can be invoked against you. And we are telling you, wachana na wazungu. Wazungu hawana kura.
Raila and his allies believe they have what it takes to lead the country and present Kenyans with a new economic dawn.
Pale Uhuru anawacha, serikali ya baba inachukua hapo. Wale watu wengi wanakuja hapa wanakuja kuwadanganya. Wacha niwaambie, youth hamna kazi. Raila akikaa hapa ako na akili mingi sana ya kuwapatia kazi. Mimi naomba tafadhalini, mara hii tusifanye makosa. Alafu niwaambia ya tatu, hapa ile chama ya Wilbaro, ile inaitwa UDA kuu. Mnajua mambo yao ni kudanganyana, na hiyo ndio UDA. Musikubali iwe hapa. Safari hii tumeungana mkono kutoka Samburu, ukiangalia Laikipia, juzi tulikuwa Nakuru, ukienda Bungoma, ukienda mahali kokote Kenya, zote tunasema rais wa 5 wa jamhuri ni Raila Amolo Odinga.
Alikuwa anapata kura tu hata bila kuwa na viongozi waliochaguliwa. Last election ya 2017 tulifanya kazi ngumu sana kujaribu kunyang'anya baba kura kwa sababu ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Leo tuko timu moja. Nafikiri this time round utaona mambo ya kura venye itakuja.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Let's stay with politics and go to Kwale from Samburu, where the Kenya Kwanza Alliance Tuesday took the bottom-up economic model campaign to Lunga Lunga, that's in Kwale County, rallying the region behind Deputy President William Ruto.
The alliance used the platform to advocate for gender equality and respect for women.
Michael Mwandiga reports.
Kenya Kwanza says the alliance has the interests of the coast region at heart. Speaking in Lunga Lunga, Kwale County, leaders allied to the Deputy President said bottom-up is the way to go in efforts to achieve economic growth.
Sisi kama Kenya Kwanza tutaketi na viongozi wenu hao wabunge na wengine wote, tuwasikize, tuwaelewe, alafu tuone tutatenga pesa namna gani kufufua uchumi.
Uchumi wa Kenya uko intensive care unit. Bei ya chakula iko juu, si bei ya unga iko juu, bei ya gasi iko juu. Deni la Kenya, deni la taifa la Kenya liko juu sana.
The leaders said they will revive industries to create employment opportunities, introduce new models of farming to add value to their cash crops, and end historical injustices.
Mheshimiwa Ruto, nyinyi mtapewa ile mnastahili kupewa, kwa sababu anasema tuende chini, tuanze uchumi wetu chini, tuangalie mama wa chini, tuangalie kijana wa chini, tuangalie mwana boda boda.
The leaders also used the opportunity to push for gender equality.
Tunataka kuhakikishia akina mama wa Kwale, akina mama wa Pwani, akina mama wa Kenya, we will make sure in our bottom-up economic model, women are at the center of reviving the economy.
They said the alliance is keen on providing a bigger platform for women.
DRC is a country endowed with arable lands, rich mineral deposits, and an insatiable market for goods and services required by the almost 100 million population. The Kenya and DRC governments organized a trade mission in partnership with Equity Group that saw more than 300 investors and entrepreneurs visit the vast country for 2 weeks. Watch this documentary on how the DRC is ripe for investment and trade on KBC Channel 1 on Friday the 11th of March from 6:35 p.m.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Ended up becoming the one thing I am most proud of in my life. The greatest son that a father could ever wish for.
You had no right embarrassing my grandson the way you did, when the only thing that he ever did was to love you and give you everything that he had. You had no right.
You found her. Good afternoon.
Just leave him. Just tell him you want a divorce.
Don't you dare!
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Welcome back. I was hoping to correct that report on Kenya Kwanza that was voiced by Hibak, but filed by Khalid Abdullahi and not Michael Mwandiga as had reported.
Right.
Feels better. Moving on, Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, has underscored the need to fully involve women in leadership to achieve gender equality.
Muturi, who celebrated International Women's Day with lactating mothers at Mama Lucy Hospital in Nairobi, said time has come for women to play a proactive role in building the nation.
Yeah, that's right. The Democratic Party leader and presidential hopeful regretted that the country is yet to achieve the two-third gender rule in parliament 11 years after the promulgation of the new constitution.
Breaking the bias. It should prick the conscience of all men that we cannot leave anybody behind. We must carry everybody along. And it is these biases that we must do away with. So even as we head to the elections, I call upon our mothers or sisters and daughters to come forward and offer themselves for elective office.
I call upon all Kenyans, because now elective post is the voters who decide who to elect. I call the women to support other women during an election like now. Despite women having low finances, support them with their good leaders.
Nimefurahi sana speaker wetu wa National Assembly kwa kuchagua Mama Lucy kusherekea pamoja na sisi wakina mama na kusherekea na wale ambao wamebarikiwa na watoto.
Well, a call there to support women in leadership. On county fact file, it is the second highest populated county in Kenya after the capital city of Nairobi, Kenya. It is also home to the country's founding president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and the country's fourth President, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
In today's county fact file, Richard Munga takes a closer look at Kiambu County 22.
Kiambu County, county number 22, is located in Kenya's central region. With a population of 2,417,735 as per the 2019 Kenya Housing and Population Census, the county covers an area of 2,538.6 kilometers squared. Kiambu County borders Nairobi and Kajiado counties to the south, Machakos County to the east, Murang'a County to the north and northeast, Nyandarua County to the northwest, and Nakuru County to the west. The county, boasting 1,180,920 registered voters, has its headquarters in Kiambu Town, with other major towns including Thika Town, Limuru Town, Ruiru, Githunguri, among others. Kiambu County comprises of 12 constituencies, that is Lari, Juja, Githunguri, Limuru, Thika Town, Kikuyu, Ruiru, Kafete, Kiamba, Kiambu Town, Gatondo North and Gatondo South. These constituencies are further divided into 60 electoral wards. James Nyoro is the governor of Kiambu County following the impeachment of Ferdinand Waitito over misuse of public office and corruption on December 19, 2019. Kimani Wamatangi is the current senator, having been elected in 2013 and 2017. Gathonio Amoshoba is the women's representative, assuming office in 2017 after deposing Anna Gadesha. Agriculture is the dominant economic activity in Kiambu Town, with about 304,449 residents directly or indirectly employed in the sector. Coffee and tea are the main cash crops grown in the county, with food crops including maize, beans, pineapples and Irish potatoes. The county also practices livestock farming, which is mainly done through zero grazing. Animals reared include cattle, goats and sheep, in addition to poultry and pigs. The growth in this sector has been accelerated by an existing urban market in Thika, Ruiru, Kiambu and Nairobi, as well as local food processing factories found in the county, including Farmers Choice Limited, Kenchik, Githunguri Dairies, Brookside Dairies, Ndumberi Dairies, among others.
International Women's Day. My name is Carol Jenga. Now we take a look at the latest in the world of business. Now, liquefied petroleum gas prices continue to surge to historical levels in Kenya, impacted by high international prices and freight charges. Oil marketers have adjusted their prices, saying the landed cost of the commodity has doubled in the last year. The situation has been exacerbated by the Russia-Ukraine crisis that has sent oil and gas prices to a 14-year high. In Kenya, the retail prices of gas have gone up by more than 30% in the last 2 weeks. Alan Aoko samples some of the sentiments shared by Kenyans.
Of course, if the gas is increased, obviously the transport is increasing. We don't have a lot of money. And also food. Purchasing food from the mkahawas is going to be very expensive. And
tunaomba serikali watusaidie kwa sababu ya hii gas imeongezwa na hatuna pesa ya kununua tena. Hatuwezi weza siku nyingine.
Simekuja na 1400, nilikuwa najua at least nitabaki na shilingi hata kurudi nyumbani, na nimepata ni 1560. Hapo tumeumia kabisa, hata sijui ndafanyaje. Afadhali niache kupika na gas nirudi kupika na kuni kama kitambo.
Tumeshtuka mno kupata kuwa gas imepanda, haswa mimi ilipanda kama gas imeisha. Jana naenda kurefill naambiwa 19 from 14.
I think the government should come up very fast. Parliament should probably summon the treasury officials. They should summon the energy people, the mandarins there, to come up with a way how the government can intervene.
Ultimately, industry players say that there is only up to a particular point that consumers will be able to be pushed towards regarding the issue of the increasing prices of LPG gas. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
The Kenya Revenue Authority is accusing Keroche breweries of consistently failing to remit taxes on accessible goods. The tax agency has further slammed the door on Keroche's request for more time to repay their arrears, saying the brewer has continuously breached agreed payment plans with the authority. KRA sealed Keroche's premises on the 31st of January, crippling the operations of the Naivasha-based beer maker.
Tax disputes between the Kenya Revenue Authority and Keroche breweries has been simmering since the year 2006. But the situation spilled out of control this year when the tax agency sealed Keroche's offices in Naivasha. KRA now says Keroche owes the taxman a total of 351 million shillings in unremitted excise tax collected between January 2021 till February 2022. Excise duty is charged at 6 shillings per litre for water and 121.85 cents for every litre of alcohol. A readout that spells doom for the future of Keroche breweries says despite the agreed payment plan, Keroche has not shown any commitment in paying the tax arrears. KRA has noted that Keroche breweries declared self-assessed tax in its monthly returns but has been failing to remit the taxes on the 20th of every month as stipulated by law. In a sign that KRA is not budging, the taxman says it will not allow any taxpayer to continue collecting taxes and not remitting the same, since doing so will be akin to abating tax evasion. Yesterday, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance and the Kenya Associations of Manufacturers called for a meeting between the Kenya Revenue Authority and Keroche Breweries Limited to resolve the tax row. Keroche's chief executive has written to the president to intervene to save the multi-billion shillings brewer. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Kenya has been urged to tap into the Africa Territorial Agency Fund to bridge its infrastructural funding gap. According to the United Cities and Local Governments of Africa Secretary General, that is Along Mbasi, the fund has started operating and is expected to hit over 200 billion shillings in turnover as the continent rapidly urbanizes.
According to the World Bank, Africa has an infrastructure funding gap of $90 billion. The funding gap is expected to widen as more than 1 billion people are expected to live in towns in the next 30 years as the urbanization rate in the continent doubles. To adequately plan and prepare for the urban population, cities and municipalities have been encouraged to save and borrow at the now operationalized African Territorial Fund to build sustainable infrastructure.
UCLG has done the homework and created a facility and said, bring your 100,000 euros, put it there, and then you can withdraw from it. Okay, so the pot must be big enough, as I was saying, to make it possible for people to borrow more and more. And then you'll get it at an interest rate you can afford.
The fund that seeks to mobilize more than 200 billion shillings in its short-term strategy seeks to lend cities and municipalities at lower rates than commercial loans.
People develop themselves. They are not developed by others. So you have to take our will to bring all our living forces to address this issue of development.
This as African economic blocs have been encouraged to set up a city and municipality office to ensure there's a provision for urbanization plan to mitigate against pandemics such as COVID-19 in future.
So these are the things that we must do in reconstructing our cities to be livable urban spaces now and into the future.
City planners have been advised to create smart cities that are resilient and can adapt to climate change for sustainability.
Persuade our architect that, look, we are going solar way, so let the solar be generated in the house.
And Africa is the region that is suffering the most of the consequences of climate change because our preparedness for it cannot be at the level that is required because we don't have enough public funding.
Currently, Africa has the highest urbanization rate in the world, with 2/3 of its population expected to live in cities in 2050. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Last but not least, fish farmers in Lake Turkana are recording up to 70% of post-harvest losses due to harsh temperatures, poor infrastructure and a lack of modern storage facilities. The Intergovernmental Authority for Development IGAD Program Coordinator Eshete Dijan says Kenya and Ethiopia out to coordinate on how to address the matter before the issue escalates any further.
According to IGAD, the fourth largest lake in the continent supports communities in Kenya and Ethiopia and still has high potential, which has not been exploited. However, poor practices like use of undersized nets and poor facilities are a major barrier on fishing around the Omo Turkana basin. IGAD coordinator Eshete Dejen says, apart from impaired fishing practices, poor market facilitation is also a challenge. IGAD also raised concerns on poor fishing gear farmers use, which incapacitate the fishing community from accessing parts of the lake.
This looks like simple, but it's one of the most management options for sustainability. If the two countries' experts agree on the mesh size that they are using, then the fish that need to reproduce and escape to be caught will escape and benefit both countries.
Leaders from the two East African countries said they are coordinating talks to boost fish harvesting from the 13,000 metric ton record from last year. They note a need to improve infrastructure around the lake to weather-resistant structures that can withstand climate change.
Lake Turkana is located in a very fragile environment, and the changes that are extremes has an impact on the fishery. We need to be able to work to support so that associations are being formed and their problems has been really solved at the association level.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Kenyan farmers are feeling the impact of climate change with dwindling harvests and changing planting seasons. The evolving environment is already affecting Kenya agriculture productivity, and the problem is likely to get worse in the future, according to climate experts. Japhet Bayer, a farmer from the village in Kilifi County, is a victim of climate change. His livelihood has changed for the worse as poor rainfall has ensured his once lucrative crop production dwindled due to poor rainfall distribution. Bayer's village now relies on the government's food rations for survival, even as his community faces a highly uncertain future. Duta Mukami reports.
Kenya's climate is changing even as the world's temperature levels continue to climb. The government says the mean annual temperature is projected to increase between 0.8 and 1.5 degrees Celsius by the 2030s and 1.6 degrees to 2.7 degrees Celsius by 2060 if the current trajectory is maintained. This will be bad for the agriculture sector, which contributes about 27% of Kenya's annual wealth and is the economic mainstay in rural Kenya. The main driver of climate change is the greenhouse effect. Some gases in the Earth's atmosphere act a bit like the glass in a greenhouse, trapping the sun's heat and stopping it from leaking back into the space and causing global warming. Many of these greenhouse gases occur naturally, but human activity is increasing the concentrations of some of them in the atmosphere.
Kuna shida kubwa, na huenda miaka ijayo ukawa na hali ngumu. Hali ngumu ya maisha kwa sababu ya kwamba mahindi hayaivi tena.
Japhet Bayer is an old farmer in Kilifi County, one of the worst affected by the changing weather patterns.
Kadiri miaka ilivyoendelea kulingana na ufahamu wangu ni kwamba hizi mvua zilianza kupungua na zikaanza kubadilisha nyakati za kunyesha.
For many years now, Bayer and many other farmers in his village have made numerous attempts to change their farming techniques to cope with the erratic rainfall. Water required for food production has become more scarce, which has now made farmers seek alternative means for survival, such as selling charcoal. The situation is dire, with many people giving up on farming. The village is now pleading with the government to construct dams and water pans to help with their dwindling fortunes and dying livestock.
Upande wa serikali sasa vile inaweza kutusaidia kulingana na ukame. Either ituchimbie hayo mabinesi ama ituchimbie visima. At least hiyo inaweza kutusaidia.
But for now, crop farming is becoming a mission impossible, forcing the residents of Kilifi County to resort to extreme means of survival. The Ministry of Agriculture, however, says that all is not lost with the new innovations like the Smart Agriculture Project that seeks to train farmers on new sustainable farming models.
For example, in places like Kilifi and across Kenya, actually, we're looking at renewable energy. So Malindi Solar is one example where we're looking at renewable energy. What we've been really impressed by is that those opportunities are there.
But for Baya and his village folks, the best they can do is to peep into the horizon and hope that it will bring good fortunes even as prospects become dim with each passing day.
Well, and that is how we wrap up business news for tonight. Coming up next is the Forex market report. We get to see how the shilling has been trading against other major currencies. And later on, Richard Munga will be bringing you the sports update. My name is Carol Jenga. Have a good night.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Oh, good evening. As always, it is a huge honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. Now, we kick off the bulletin with a bit of football, where defending champions Tusker FC bagged maximum points after trouncing Wazito FC 3-0 in a Kenya Premier League match that was played at the Kasarani Stadium today. Ibrahim Joshua gave Tusker the lead in the 52nd minute before Diogratias Ojok added the second in the 78th minute. Ojok scored Tusker's third goal in the dying minutes of the game. In another match played today, Kenya Police drew 1-1 against KCB. Kakamega Homeboys currently lead the log on 43 points, 6 points ahead of second place Tusker FC. Nairobi City Stars, Gor Mahia and KCB complete the top 5 teams on the log. Meanwhile, double world deaf athletics champion Simon Kibai has qualified for the Summer Deaflympic Games slated for this year in Brazil. Kibai won the men's 5,000 meters final during the athletics trials held at the National Stadium today. Kibai beat Ian Kahinga, who finished second, while Amos Kiplangat was placed third, with both joining Kibai in making Team Kenya. The Summer Deaflympics Games will be hosted in Brazil from May 1st to the 15th. Kenya will also be represented in the basketball men's team and women, handball men and women, basketball men and women, soccer women, and also the golf men team. Simon Kibai took charge of the race from the onset. The double World Deaf Athletics champion led the leading pack that comprised of Ian Kahinga and Amos Kiplagat. In the last lap, Kibai extended the gap and crossed the line in 14 minutes and 41 seconds. Ian Kahinga took the second position after clocking 15 minutes and 4 seconds, while Amos Kiplagat completed the podium dash.
I've been in the training camp, and I expected today I will beat my competitors and go to Brazil. I was not afraid. I know the hard work and prayers, God will help you and help me to achieve. And today I've won, I thank God.
In the 5,000 meters women, Sarah Wangari emerged victorious after clocking 18 minutes and 55 seconds, while Grace Kendagor and Lauren Nganga took the second and third position respectively.
Those teams that have qualified will prepare. We have a national trials for deaf football selection. Now we continue with the athletics. In the next 2 days, we have deaf basketball also, the team that will represent Kenya and Africa.
The Summer Deaflympic Games will be hosted in Brazil from the 1st to the 15th of May. Kenya will also be represented in the basketball men and women, handball men and women, and golf men.
The chase for the Deaf Olympic slot has started, with athletes converging at the Nyao National Stadium, all eyeing the available slots.
That's Dan Mwendo right there. And of course, for the Deaflympics athletes, we wish them all the best, those who have qualified and those who are yet to qualify, of course, for the Summer Deaflympics in Brazil later this year. Now, women have been making huge strides in sports for the past decade by not only putting forth exemplary performances out in the field, but by also taking up key leadership roles in sports associations all over the world. Last year, Kenyans Faith Kipyegon and Paris Jepchirchir emerged victorious in the postponed Tokyo Olympic Games. Recently, the Kenya national women's hockey team became the second women's team to qualify for the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. Today, KBC Sports joins the world in celebrating the International Women's Day.
Wanawake tokelezeni. It is in sports where you get daily fitness, you get to age, what do we say, you grow old younger, you go younger old, hivyo sasa unakuwa mzee wa ili yanga.
I'm happy to see sport different entering. Like now you have seen Kenya, the only country, how many sport women are representing country. We have handball, we have football, we have basketball. I feel proud of this team. I'm so happy because more women this year will represent our country compared to men.
Once again, a happy International Women's Day to all the female football players, athletes, as well as every other woman out there in the world. Every woman today needs and deserves to be celebrated just as much as any other day of the week. That's it for sports tonight. I'm Richard Munga, but don't go too far. Mboya and Purity Museo are on the other side of the studio to wrap up the bulletin. Good night.
Thank you, Richard Munga. Happy Women's Day.
Did you call me Musao Munga?
Called you Musao?
Imagine.
Are you serious? Okay, happy Women's Day. Think like a queen. Think like a queen.
We want to wrap it up right now, Tom. We are still recording under single-digit COVID-19 positivity rate.
0.3%, yeah.
0.3%.
Oh, it's good you mentioned that. Okay.
In the last 24 hours. Let's keep it there because WHO says that if a country maintains under 5% actually for 2 weeks, then they could consider declaring or having that country declared to have defeated the virus.
Okay.
Yes. So we hope to maintain, and 2022 becomes the year where the pandemic will be declared defeated.
Wow. Can't wait for that day.
Thank you for watching. It's always a great pleasure to have your company. I'm Purity Museo. Susan Thuku has been a sign language interpreter tonight. We'll see you again next week, Monday and Tuesday, God willing. Stay safe and God bless.
And I'm Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.
On cinemas and theatre this episode.
Courage or die in cowardice.
Join me, Jacqueline Masharia, as we review the film Mission to Rescue.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Now, live on the decks, bringing you the hottest sounds. Let's go. Cold Jack in the mix.
Weekend celebration. This is your celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Okay. Good times, come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A dedication to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time, yeah. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on. It's a celebration.
You did have a look in your eyes. Really bad and relax while I put away the dishes. You and me can rock a back. You can Okay.
The Global Affair DJ.
Pump it up while your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping.